Alright, so I'm back, and today we are going to take a look at Transformers Beast Wars Season 2. And this is the Kids Rhino version, not the whatever it's called, the new versions that are out. Why am I drawing a blank? I just said it. Anyway, so this is the original casing that it came in. I actually still have the book on this one. I didn't have on Season 1. But yeah, it just kind of goes through all the information of the episodes. Shop Factory, that's the other company. So we don't need this because I actually have most of this thing memorized. And then yeah, it opens up. You got an awesome picture of Megatron there, and then we got Megatron face there, and behind it you can see an Optimus face, which is weird. And then here you have a Optimus face and Megatron in the background, I believe. Yeah, Megatron in the background. So this video won't be as long as Season 1 because I wanted to go through all the stuff that led up to the Beast Wars. So anyway, Season 2 starts out with the way Season 1 ended. And spoiler alert for Season 1. If you haven't watched Season 1, watch it now before you continue this video. At the end of it, Primal flew into the Planet Buster, which was destroying the planet, blew it up, but Megatron locked him in. The stasis pod he was flying. So Optimus is dead, Planet Buster is destroyed, and then all of a sudden this power surge comes out. And this power surge first off knocks out all the stasis pods out of the sky. So they're all crashing out all over the place. And then you get this power surge that hits both Maximal and Predacon base, and what it's doing is it is upgrading certain characters, making Transmetal, and now we have a new style or new type of Beast Wars that are entered into the show, and that was the Transmetals. This also fried out some of the systems on the stasis pods when they crashed. So they weren't able to do a full scan on one animal, so instead they scanned multiple animals, and thus we get the Fusors, which are a combination of two different animals. The two that come down are Quick Strike, who is a scorpion with a King Cobra foretail, and Silverbolt, who is essentially wolf with eagle wings. Awesome. So yeah. Season 2, and this goes into this season really dives into the plot of this series. Season 1 it touched on it here and there, but and it kind of developed the plot along so that it can get to this point where it actually has a huge plot in it. And it's such a minor thing that you think of when you think of it, but it just becomes such a huge turning point in both the Beast Wars and Transformers lore, really. So from this point on, there's going to be spoilers because I'm going to actually go into detail into the season. So if you haven't watched the season, I do recommend picking this up. On a scale of 1 to 10, this thing is rated a 10. Transformers Beast Wars Season 2 is a 10. Absolute, my favorite of all the Transformers seasons. Better than, I hide it. I like it better than any of the Primes, any of the G1s, Armada. I haven't even seen Armada, it ranks higher. Animated, any of the live action movies. This is my favorite of all Transformers lore, or second favorite to the Transformers G1 movie, but really close second, and favorite of all the TV shows. Hope that made sense. Made sense to me. Anyway, so spoilers. So this one's only 13 episodes. And those are really good 13 episodes. So let's first start off with talking about the 2 new characters we get, and that's Quicksilver, or Quickstrike, and Silverbolt. Silverbolt is the hero. He's a hero. That's the best way to describe him. He is that one guy that is just like, I will stand against anything because I am that guy, and it's cool. He's like a Captain America type, or Spider-Man. You know, he will stand in front of that bus if that will save some lives, or the possibility of saving lives. Then you get Quickstrike, who just wants to fight. That's it. He just wants to fight anything and everything that he can see. He's a brawler through and through, but he's a small bot, you know, and he's weak. He's not very skilled. So you see him get his ass handed to him by Rat Trap, Silverbolt, Dinobot, anybody that got in his way, or that he tried to get in the way of. They just kicked the crap out of him, which was fun. You need somebody that is weak, that can get the crap kicked out of him, but keeps running back into the fight. You need that guy. Anyway, so the first episode is Aftermath, and that's where, this was actually before the fusers started showing up, but you find out Megatron got upgraded. You see Pterosaur and Scorponok were going to be upgraded, but then they fell in the lava and melted to death. So they're dead. Gone. Just gone. Rat Trap and Cheetor got upgraded, and then so did Tarantulas. Everyone else stayed in their original formats, but the rest of them got upgraded. Primal's dead. And you see the Maximals are having difficulties figuring out how to use their new bodies. Megatron seemed to figure it out real quick. And you can tell that his armor rating went from pretty good to, oh my god, impossible to hurt. I mean, bolts are bouncing off of him and stuff, and it's awesome. Really makes him into a whole new threat on his own, and he's no longer taking the approach of let my troops do the work to, okay, I'm down 2 guys, now I'm going to go out there and I'm going to beat the ever-living shit out of any Maximal that gets in my way because there is no Primal to fight me. Which is awesome. I really liked it. We also, Black Arachnia, turns out that she had put her mind connected into Tarantulas to get the last of the codes. It turns out Tarantulas was able to transfer his consciousness into her mind so that he can control her mentally. So because of that, that's why she saves Tarantulas' body and then revives it, defying Megatron, even though Megatron was ready to kill her. So awesome. So then there's Coming of the Fusers, part 1 and 2. That's when we see Silverbolt and Quickstrike come out. They instantly joined the Predacons because Megatron was smart enough to override their activation codes. And he decides that, okay, you know what? I'm going to take these new troops. Tarantulas is back. Everyone else is here. Let's blitz the base. So they all just start going towards the base. Rhinox has connected his core consciousness to the Matrix, and he's trying to. He doesn't say what he's trying to do. He's just trying to get to the Matrix, and as it turns out, he's trying to revive Primal. Let's see. In the Aftermath episode, that's when Dinobot and Waspinator figure out that they are on prehistoric Earth, and so the golden disc is absolutely priceless. So Dinobot steals that, and during this episode he's off hiding it, and when he gets back, Rat Trap informs him that, okay, Cheetor's on his way towards the base, and all the Predacons are with him. So he's like, okay, let's arm up and let's go. So he grabs everybody, and they know that if somebody hits the base, Rhinox will die. So, you know, it's 3 on the whole team. Tigertron and Ares went off on some magical quest together. I mean, seriously, they wanted to see the damage on the planet and they just left. I don't know why you would want to do that, but whatever. So the only Predacon that's not there is Black Arachnia. She's back at the base, and she finds out that everything that was on the golden disc is in Megatron's computer, so she's trying to steal it for herself, which is pretty cool. So we get this awesome final Western style showdown between the Maximals and the Predacons. Rhinox eventually joins in, and they just start firing, and it is just all out battle. And at one point, Silverbolt gets knocked out of the sky, and Rat Trap and Cheetor decide to repair him, because that's, you know, Maximal way. And Maximals get their asses handed to them, and then at the end, you know, right before Maximals were about to get executed, Primal reemerges from a dead stasis pod. That's what Rhinox was doing. He reached Primal Spark and brought him back, and Primal went totally unglued on the Predacons, saved the day. Megatron was about to get a cheap shot in, but then Silverbolt knocks Megatron off a cliff and says, you know, this is my resignation to the Predacons. And then he looks at Primal and is like, can I join the Maximals? And Primal's like, I like your resume, which was awesome because he was able to keep his humor. Now, Primal does return, as I said, which is cool. Like I said, I enjoy the character. It seems like his body was downgraded. Even though it's a transmetal body, it doesn't seem to be as powerful as the previous one. And you kind of see that when in the season 1, when Primal and Megatron would throw down, Primal will always come out on top. In season 2, every time they throw down, Megatron almost always came out on top. So, and they both got transmetalized. It just, Primal is in a different body now. So I don't think he came back as powerful as he used to be. You know, he went from having the shoulder cannons, the flight mode, the wrist blasters, the swords, to having a pistol and a surfboard. Oh, and he had this over-slung thing that would be like, almost like a machine gun, just which was cool. Sorry. Anyway. Next episode was Tangled Web. That was the one where Tarantulas, Black Arachnia, and Quickstrike decide that they're going to form their own arachnid arachnocons. Black Arachnia doesn't want to do it, but Tarantulas is like, I'm in your head. You don't have a choice. And Quickstrike's like, well, against Megatron and Primal, twice the fight, I'm down. So they go off and they find their own little Fortress of Solitude, basically. Maximal's figured out. They start attacking. They're not in connection, or they're not communicating to Megatron. Megatron's like, what is going on? And Waspinator and Inferno are off making a jamming tower. And this is my absolute favorite part of this episode was you got Waspinator reporting to Megatron saying that, yes, the jamming tower's up. You see it's up. It's perfectly fine. And then you see Inferno in the background using something and just knocking out one of the legs, and it's just crashing down, and he's laughing maniacally. It was just like, why would you do that? So, also in this episode, you get a good chance, or good scene, the first time, really, that Silverbolt and Black Arachnia come in contact. And that's where he hesitates, because he's the hero, and the hero doesn't hit the girl. So he refuses to fight her. So instead, he goes after Quick Strike, and that's how things start with those two. And it's a great episode. I do like it. Next one was Maximal No More. This is one where Dinobot realizes that the golden discs, there's now two of them. Megatron did find another golden disc earlier on. Inferno brought it to him, actually. That was in, I think, before the storm. Yeah, it was before the storm in season 1. But, so Dinobot had stolen both of them, gave the alien disc to Rhinox and hid the golden disc, the Voyager disc. And he decides that Megatron's close to victory. Even without the disc, he's going to win. So he decides that he wants to be a part of that. So he joins the Predacons again. There's a big fight in between him and Quick Strike, which turns into a one-sided fight for the most part. Megatron kind of lets him back in, and then tells him that he have to get the golden disc back. Dinobot tells him that one's he can't get and the other one's hidden. So Megatron tells him to go. Let's go get it. Megatron's about to betray him, and then Rat Trap gets involved, and Dinobot knocks Rat Trap down, and Megatron's like, maybe he is ready to become back into the fold. But then Dinobot hesitates at the last minute and stops Megatron from killing Rat Trap. Megatron's already got the disc, so he's got what he needed. So he's out. Primal and Silverbolt show up, and then Rat Trap turns into his now Rat with Wheel mode and has Dinobot ride home. The major events of that is, and you hear it later on, is first off Dinobot quit the Maximals, and Rat Trap gave him shit about it a lot for doing that, and Megatron getting the golden disc back. Then there's the other visits, part 1 and 2, where Megatron finds an alien type ship made out of plants. Uses the golden disc to activate it and becomes he's in charge of it, and he's gonna fly it back. Tarantulas told Megatron prior to this, fuck you, I'm not a Predacon, but let's kill these aliens. I'm not part of your command anymore. Megatron doesn't care. Megatron throws him aside once he gets what he needed, and he's going to take it to Cybertron and conquer Cybertron with it. And everyone's like, no, you can't do that. If you do that, the Vok will know where the Cybertron is, and then they might destroy Cybertron. We don't want that. So in the end, Tarantulas joins the Maximals temporarily and helps them just defeat Megatron, blow up the ship. I would say the main 2 plot points of this or 3. Tarantulas quits the Predacons, and you don't see him under Megatron's command for the rest of the season. Tigertron and Air Razor get sucked up by the planet and shot off into space. They're gone. You don't see them again, really. And then the alien disc is destroyed. And then we get into Bad Spark. This is, okay, so while they're flying around, they find a stasis pod lying in a big pile of raw energon, and it's got this big X on it. And Cheeto reports back saying, hey, I found a stasis pod with a big X on it. Megatron overhears it and is like, oh, big X means, or big stasis pod means big soldier. He doesn't think much of it. So, as it turns out, though, and Primal's like, oh, shit. And Rhinox is like, I think his exact words were, Primus help us solve, that thing survived. Which is not a good sign right off the bat. So they hurry out there to try and assess the situation. They think that it's dead. Black Arachnia gets involved. Waspinator gets involved. There's a shootout. One of the Ryan Energon gets, and Silverbolt's there. Some of the Ryan Energon blows up. Everything's thrown out of whack. Primal, Cheetor make it back to the base for repairs, and that's when we find out the truth. We found out a little bit, but it goes into more detail. But as it turns out, the Maximals had decided that they were going to make a soldier that would be like Megatron or like Starscream from G1, where his spark would not die, and unkillable soldier. It was the plan. And the experiment went horribly wrong, and they accidentally created Protoform X, Rampage, and it became treacherous, too dangerous to handle. Could not recycle it because of what they did to the spark. You know, I can just imagine. You know, it's just some poor sap got experimented on until he became this horrible twisted thing. So they created one of the worst monsters they've dealt with. And there's nothing else they can do for this, to this thing or for this thing. So they're like, okay, we're gonna put it on the Axelon. You're gonna fly it out. First barren world you see, you just drop that thing. That was the plan. Just drop it somewhere and just leave it. Okay, well, now it's on prehistoric Earth, and the Energon Storm revived it, and now we've got Rampage on Earth. First thing he does is he rips tarantulas to pieces, and now he's starting to stock a damaged Black Arachnia and a damaged Silverbolt. He can't fly at the moment, and they end up fighting briefly. Quickly realize that Silverbolt and Black Arachnia working together, no match for this guy at all. You know, bolts bouncing off of him, and then he turns into crab mode and he grabs Silverbolt. And one of my favorite lines in the episode was, "Is that fear you're feeling, Maximal? Let it consume you. Yes, feel the fear." And he's just crushing him slowly, and it's like, I like it. I really, really enjoyed Rampage. Megatron later on, at the end, they find him, they defeat him, and they leave him there, unconscious, and decide that they're going to come back for him later. Megatron's there. He's snuck around and pulls out a knife made out of Energon, cuts the spark in half, takes one part of the spark and puts it in a little cage with raw Energon crystals, and he starts squeezing it, and that's how he controls Rampage. So whenever Rampage gets out of control, he just gives it a good squeeze. Rampage stays in line. So, awesome. Great. I loved it. It was a great way to introduce a new character that was more powerful than Megatron, and yet making it so that Megatron was in control of it. So it was just great. Yeah. Next episode, Code of Hero. This one is where we discover exactly what Megatron's plans are. They hint to it throughout the season, but the Golden Disc is the Voyager Disc. It has all the history of man as we knew it at the time on the disc. It also has the history of the Transformers that the G1 Megatron put in there as well. The plan, first plan was get as much Energon and get out. Use that fuel thing. That didn't work. Then the plan was try and get as much stasis pods as I can. That didn't work. Now the plan is, okay, wipe out the human race before it starts. they were going to kill us before we even were really humans. That we were anthropoids or whatever he calls them. You know, not quite Neanderthals in Cro-Magnon. You know what I mean. It was, yeah. He was going to wipe out the human race before it became human, and without the help of humans, as he says, the war would have ended differently, and it would. You know, just imagine all the G1 episodes without humans in it. So that was his master plan, or that was one of his master plans. He had steps to his master plan, leading up to the ultimate risk, as he puts it. Anyway, so only one that's on scene at the time is Dinobot, and he got a sneak attack from Tarantulas, so he's already damaged a little bit. He dispatches Tarantulas real quick, and then the rest of Maximals are on their way, but right now it's only Dinobot against all the Predacons, minus, well, yeah, Tarantulas is down. So it's him against them all, and he runs in headlong because, you know, he's playing the hero. So he says a great line of, now, you know, I've known all along the choice has always been mine, but now I see that I have no choice at all, and goes in there and fights the Predacons, dispatches each one right after the other, getting damaged all along the way till he's pretty heavily damaged near the end, and then Quick Strike attacks him, gets this cheap shot in. He beats Quick Strike. He beats him with a stick. Megatron shows up. He tries to hit Megatron with a stick, and you just see Megatron just sit there. Really? A stick? And then he takes the stick, makes a hammer out of it, smashes Megatron. Golden Disc comes out, uses the last bit of his energon, destroys the disc, and then dies the hero. That's when the Maximals show up, save the day, but it's too late. He's way too far gone, and Dinobot dies. But he died a hero. He saved humankind, destroyed the disc. He did his good deeds. Lots of Shakespeare-esque speeches in this one. Great episode. I absolutely loved it. Very well written, well designed. They did a good job on that. Transmutate was the next episode. That's the one with Transmutate, a stasis pod. It's really powerful, but kind of not all there, and can't even take a beast mode. And you more or less you get a better feel of Rampage and Silverbolt, and how they both want to be friends with this. They don't want to use it, they just want to be friends with it, which is really kind of cool, because you realize that Rampage isn't just a horrible monster that's just pure evil. He's a tortured soul, and he's looking for another tortured soul to help him, and Silverbolt sees it as a chance to bring this Transmutate into light and become friends with it, because he believes that all life forms deserve a chance. Predacons think it should be destroyed. Maximals think it should be put in the stasis log forever. So they're the only two that really see what it is, and because they both want it so bad, they end up fighting each other for it, and their fighting kills it. And as it's dying, it's like, it looks at Silverbolt, it's like, friend good. It looks over at Rampage and says, friend dark. Doesn't say evil, dark. And they both just sit there and mourn the loss of what they were going to have as a friend. Maximals are over there like, okay, we'll take care of Rampage, and Silverbolt's like, no. For today, we are brothers. Because they're united in the loss. And it was a great episode. And then the agenda part 1, 2, and 3. Ravage. So the G1 Ravage, turns out he was reprogrammed as a Predacon. He gets a ship. Frederick's Council sends him out there. Says, okay, you go there. You kill everything. We can't take any more sanctions from the Maximals. This needs to just disappear. He was a one-man assassin sent to destroy both Maximals and Predacons on prehistoric Earth. The Predacons figured out where they were by the transwarp cell explosion from the end of season 1. And so now the Predacons know where everyone's at. So they're going to just make sure this didn't happen so that they don't get more sanctions put on them and stuff. Very kind of political driven is their plot point. So he gets there and he's got a working ship, which the others don't have. Maximals don't have one. Predacons don't have one. So he instantly cuts through the Predacons' defenses. He helps Maximals defend the base. Maximals join up with him. They do a blitz on the Predacon base. Megatron sends Waspinator to his secret location where Black Arachnia follows. Megatron knew that was going to happen. That's how he planned it. He wanted her to go there. And we'll find out later, because she's got Megatron's codes from earlier in the season. She copied all the disk codes onto her hard drive and then destroyed his copies. So she was the only one with him. So that's why he wanted her to follow Waspinator without her thinking that he wanted her to follow Waspinator. He had it all planned out. And then, so Megatron gets captured by Ravage and the Maximals. They start. Then the Maximals start hunting down power sources and you know, because they need to fuel the trip back, and you get some good interchange with Silverbolt and Primal, and Silverbolt runs after Black Arachnia in the end, trying to hunt her down to bring her to Maximals without having to damage her. That's his plan. So they find the secret location that Waspinator was going, and as they're getting there, he stops in midair, and Black Arachnia was distracted by Silverbolt and runs into him, and all the pieces are falling down. Then they're trying to get through the cavern that was blasted, and so like, you know, and Silverbolt even mentions it. It seems like somebody dug this tunnel and then blasted it closed, and there's Predacon logos all over it. And my thought processes of it, Megatron knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what was there. He just didn't want to go that route unless he absolutely had to. So the Maximals are trying to track down the Predacons. Some of them got heavily damaged, so they just leave them, like Inferno. They get back to base to find out that, Megatron shows Ravage a piece of the golden disc, which has a transmission from G1 Megatron, telling him G1 Megatron's plan. And Beast Wars Megatron didn't want to do it because it was just too crazy. But now there is no choice. Gotta happen. Ravage, seeing his old commander, instantly was like, "All right, that's it. I'm in." He didn't care what the outcome would be. He was just following orders from his original leader. And then Maximals get back there, find out Ravage has switched side. Now they got to deal with Ravage in the ship. Rampage is there, Quick Strike's there, Megatron's there, and then it's an all-out battle. Rat Trap take. Oh, and we find out that Tarantulas is actually a member of the secret Predacon police, which was cool. And ultimately they defeat Ravage Rampage ends up blowing up in the ship, which kind of sucks. I kind of wish he would stick around. Predacons all get defeated. Megatron's like, okay, minor setback, going back to the other planet. And he instantly, he flies as fast as he can to get to where Black Reckoning is. And Primal's already figured this out. I think Dinobot told him, and he's like, we gotta go. We gotta go now. We gotta stop him. And Black Arachnia and Silverbolt got through. They find the Ark. That's where the G1 Transformers landed. And Megatron shows up, knocks out Silverbolt, tells Black Arachnia, you gotta open up or I'm gonna kill him. So she does, and that's when we find out the truth behind the plan. The plan being to kill G1 Optimus while he's in stasis lock. And Megatron does this huge speech, how this is the ultimate risk, the ultimate glory, and awesome. It's a very, very risky maneuver. I mean, you got to think about it. He didn't want to do it because he doesn't know the full extent of what would be altered in that. So he was really hesitant on doing that, and he expresses that he did not want to do it, but now there is no other option. So he shoots Prime in the head. And this big temporal storm comes out, and everything starts coming undone. Megatron has his ending closing speech where, we won. You lost. You don't even exist anymore. Decepticons won the war. And just awesome. I think that's why I rate this a 10. It is absolutely my favorite. It's great. Question of the day would be, what do you guys think the outcome of Megatron killing Primal would have been? Personally, I think it would have been the end of the Transformers, because without Prime being alive, the Matrix would have died with him. If the Matrix would have died with him, Unicron would have been completely unchecked. That's the only thing that kept him in check. That's the only thing that stopped him. If that died and the Decepticons won, I think Unicron would have just eventually killed them all. Maybe not in the same time frame, because the only reason why he was on that way was because he saw it as his chance to get rid of the Matrix. But if the Matrix was gone early on, he would know it. I mean, it's Unicron, he would know. And I think he would have gone out and tried to... He probably would have ended Cybertron centuries ago. And back when Shockwave was in charge, what could he have done? So that's my thought process. But what do you guys think the ramifications of if Prime were to have died before G1 started? So that was Beast Wars Season 2. Next up, we'll take a look at Season 3.